Hey, do you remember 1 year ago today when Harry's Razors dropped their ads on the Daily Wire because we had the audacity to disagree with them on a political issue? Of course you don't. Why would you? Woke corporations cancel their advertisements on conservative shows and platforms all the time. It's hardly even news at this point, just the cost of doing business. See, corporate America wants it both ways. They want conservatives to buy their goods and services, but they also want to virtue signal to the woke mob and their 23-year-old employees by publicly repudiating those same conservative customers. But here's the thing. I do remember. I remember every time one of these cowardly companies betrays us, and it is a betrayal, make no mistake. They know our politics before they advertise with us. It's why they advertise with us. We reach a large audience. They want that audience to buy their goods and services. We go out of our way to make absolutely sure they know what we're about before they get into business with us, and they get into business with us anyway because it works. They're happy that we leverage our personal credibility to tell our audience about their products. We're happy too. But then at the first sign of trouble, in the case of Harry's Razors, it was an attack from a Twitter account with two followers online. Well, then they not only pull their sponsorships, but they publicly attack us and the very audience that they paid us to reach. Now look, I don't mind any company pulling their sponsorships. That's their right. That's just business. It's the public attack I can't abide. Harry said our views, in this case, the very common view that gender dysphoria is a mental illness, were, quote, inexcusable. They said it publicly, showing the whole world how pure they are, of course, but also signaling to all of our other advertisers that the only excusable thing to do would be to also cancel on us. See, that makes it a direct attack on our business and a direct attack on our audience too. So what are we to do? Well, what conservatives have been doing for years is lose. We're supposed to take the L. We're supposed to get a little poorer. We're supposed to hire fewer people. We're supposed to be a little less profitable. And of course we bitch. Oh, how we complain. The left is terrible. It's cancel culture. They're trying to silence us. And then we beg. We beg for donations mostly. Stand up to the censorious left, we shout, by sending us your money. And what you get for your money is, well, more losing and more bitching and more begging. That's economic incentive at work. As far as actual action, at most, we might rally for a good old-fashioned boycott. Boycotts, of course, cost the offending company in question virtually nothing, and they're over in virtually no time. Of course they are. Because in the end, we still need those products. Nike may endorse Colin Kaepernick, but we still need good shoes. Hollywood may sucker punch us every time we turn on the TV, but we still need good entertainment. Harry's may call us inexcusable, but you still need a good shave. Well, I'm tired of losing. I want to win for a change. I want to create culture, and I want to have a freaking good time doing it because losing sucks. That's why today, the Daily Wire is launching Jeremy's Razors, a direct competitor to Harry's, where people with inexcusable values like mine can get a great razor without having to give their money to people who clearly hate them. It's why the Daily Wire launched its own film company last year, so people, again, with inexcusable values like mine can get great entertainment without giving their money to people who clearly hate them. It's why the Daily Wire is in the podcasting business, and the news business, and the commentary business, and the technology business. Business, mind you, not charity. We're a for-profit company. We don't make our money by complaining and begging. We make our money by building value and selling it to people who think it's worth buying. We win by winning. The left is happy to bifurcate the culture, to rip it in two. They're convinced they'll pay no economic price for this because they know what I know. You still need those goods and services. So in order to win, we have to rip the economy in two. We have to give conservatives their own companies. We have to give conservatives their own products to buy. We have to build actual market alternatives that, in success, will force the left to take real losses if they don't compete for our business. The Daily Wire is doing just that. Jeremy's Razors is doing just that. Will it work? I don't know. It certainly won't work perfectly, this being the real world and all. But I know what won't work, what doesn't work. And what doesn't work is the nonprofit right losing its way to higher and higher donations from a smaller and smaller conservative movement that still has to actually spend its real money paying the left for all of its goods and services. That is a sure recipe for failure. If we want to win, we have to compete. And competition means building a future, not just lamenting the loss of the past. It means fighting in the economy and culture, not just complaining about the loss of the economy and culture. It means starting for-profit companies that create actual economic incentives for better behavior. That's what animates me. That's what drives the Daily Wire. That's the real fight. If you want a better future, you have to build it. And if you want a better shave, well, we're going to build that for you.
Let's get it. We are in the middle of a cultural war, and let's get it started. We're in open, right now it's open season. We are in the middle of corporate. This is a corporate civil war, culture conflict between Harry's Razors and Daily Wire. I'm just a concerned citizen who cares about our crumbling country. I don't align with anybody on either side. I would just like us to have a functioning society. And we can't have a functioning society if we don't fight back. And he's talking about fighting back in the corporate space, in the business space. Excellent stuff by CEO and co-founder of Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring. And I'm here for it. This is going to make our country better. So that's how it started. We'll go through the history real quick, and I'll show you real quick. This is how it's going. They did a billboard right outside of Harry's Razors just to say, hey, I hate Harry's.com. Doing the marketing. I'm going to show you the ad that they released. I think it was today they released it. Let's get it. Let's go. It's time for competition. That is the strength of our country. That is the strength of, as free as our markets are going to get. It's not perfect, of course. You've got to be able to do something that's substantial. And that's what's happening here. He's laying out a corporate battle plan. So if you don't know what happened, they call it a hygiene company. I know them from the Razors. They advertise all over the place. If you listen to a lot of sports, they're on sports stuff. And they dropped the Daily Wire. This was last year. I took this article from March of 2021. There was a rando Twitter account. So this Twitter account had no followers, no nothing. This is it here. Still up on Twitter right now. Kay says, Harry's is sponsoring Michael Knowles, the same Michael Knowles who is spreading a homophobic and transphobic content. He had this guy on and he said some controversial things. I didn't see it. And I don't know if Michael shares those views or if he just had them on. Those aren't views that I share. That's not the point. I'm here to fight for anyone's right to have those views. I don't share those views. My view is I don't give a damn. I don't care enough to even talk about that. What you want to do in the privacy of your home, who you want to have sex with, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't want to hear you tell me. That's too much information. I for damn sure don't want to hear you tell my kids. Just you do you and leave me alone. Okay? I don't care who you have sex with. So that's where I'm at with this. So if I have that position, I can't be for Harry's. Because Harry's obviously cares who people have sex with. So Harry's got kind of called out by this rando account. There wasn't any grandiose peer pressure or even a cancel culture movement for Harry's. And then out of nowhere, it kind of reminds me of Joe Kent. There wasn't any big pressure for him to denounce Nick Fuentes. Nobody knew that Nick even invited him to AFPAC. He volunteered that information. It's a virtue signal. So Harry's comes back like, here's the beacon of virtue. Thanks for bringing this up, rando Twitter dude. We condemn the views in this video, which are inexcusable and at odds with our longtime support of the LGBTQ plus community. We've ended our relationship with this show and are looking into our sponsorships to prevent any values misalignment going forward. Harry's can do that. I don't have any problem with that. And Jeremy went a little bit further than me in saying he thought it was disrespectful. And I think it was, but he thought it was he almost accused them of cancel culture. And I don't think this is cancel culture unless I'm missing part of it. They just decided I don't want to advertise with them anymore, so I'm out. The cancel culture came from the rando account. That's cancel culture. So I'll talk about it a little bit later. This cancel culture term is a specific thing. Kay was doing cancel culture because what Kay could have done if he didn't like Michael Knowles, I have a radical idea for you, Kay, and all the Kays out there, turn it off. If I don't like Netflix, I will cancel my subscription. I don't need to tell Netflix to do anything. I don't need to tell another sponsor to stop sponsoring them. You make your decision and let other people make theirs. That's cancel culture. What Harry's did to me is not. They decided, I don't want to have a relationship with you anymore. Here's what the reply was. This is a year ago. Jeremy Boring said, Harry's makes great razors. That's why we've been proud to advertise them for years. We know Harry's doesn't share our values. Who cares? Economic decisions shouldn't be political decisions. So in this, I'm going to talk about Mike Lindell and a social media app, and then end with ESG because it all fits in. So I really have 3 segments. I'm going to get in with a hard out at 12:30 Mountain, or 1:30 Mountain, sorry. But so they shouldn't be political decisions. But now Harry's has decided to declare that conservatives don't deserve great razors. So they're making that statement. I mean, I'm sure they'll still take your money. He's right. This isn't making any sense. So they cancel from Daily Wire. They can still do that if they want, but they're not going to turn down money from conservatives. Or it's really not even conservatives. I don't consider myself a conservative. It's people that don't believe their views. They'll take that money, but they don't want to be seen taking the money by woke Twitter accounts with, yes, 2 followers. What matters to Harry's is being seen by the left as ideologically pure. That's the virtue signal. That's what they're trying to play games with here. Of course, Harry's has always known our values. Heck, the clip that they were mad about was from 2019. This all came up in 2021, as you can see in the bottom, March 22nd of 2021. So you've seen they've been heated about this. And what's the date today? They've been thinking about this. March 22nd, 2021 is when this all popped off. You done messed with the wrong one. All that happened here is they got caught committing the inexcusable sin of selling good products to good people with different political values. That's where we are. That's why I'm so passionate about the Nick Fuentes thing. It goes to all walks of life. Harry's can make their decision, but when I look at Harry's, I'm not giving them any money. But of course, I'm not perfect. I just ordered from Amazon earlier. I mean, I'm giving money to people who despise me, and you got to figure it out. So slowly, I've got to decide where to go. If I'm going to get razors, I don't do subscription razors, even though I do shave. I might have to go. I would very much think about going to Jeremy's Razors now. Where am I putting my money? Why am I giving money to people who are literally, well, not literally, but figuratively spitting in my face? And I have a neutral position on a lot of this stuff. It's gotten so bad that if you're neutral, you're the enemy to them. It's not good enough if you don't denounce somebody else. If you stand up for Nick Fuentes' rights or the rights of Daily Wire is a milquetoast organization. Ben Shapiro and them. They're like watered down Sprite. And people are all angry about them. I know you've got Matt Walsh and Knowles have a little bit in there, but Daily Wire in general is a milquetoast establishment organization. I'm not denouncing anyone. I respect Harry's rights and people who want to have the rights the views that agree with Harry, but you've got to be able to respect somebody else's rights too, to feel how they want to feel, as long as they're not infringing on yours. So he said that's where we are. In a healthy society, you don't have to base every single association on shared opinions. It's impossible. That's what Darth Vader was trying to do and the Chancellor in Star Wars. Ours is not a healthy society. It's toxic. Hollywood, the media, the Academy, and now Harry's Razors. Damn razor company. All want you to know you're not welcome in their world, yet you give them their money every month. Eric July is great on this. He talks about this all the way. Hey, I love Eric July. He beats it home. You've got to repeat the message because he'll repeat the message in different ways on his channel a lot. If you don't know, Eric July is an ANCAP libertarian, very bright, and he's into comic books. And he's like, I grew up with these comic books. I love these stories. I talked to the original writers on a lot of these things. And I know comic books, but I don't know them as much as he does. But the passion gets me into it. And he's like, I'm abandoning them. They hate me. Why am I still going to talk about them? He used to do reviews on these comic books. He's like, I'm not reviewing these movies anymore. He's doing his own comic book now. That's what the next step is. That's what Jeremy Boring was discussing in that clip I started with. He spelled out the parallel economies and why it has to happen. Damn razor company trying to virtue signal. You make razors. He said, believe them. When they tell you that they hate you, believe them. And the limits of their hate, in my opinion, there are no limits. So think about that as you wish. There are no limits to their hate. If you don't agree, if you don't bend the knee, there are no limits. Like if we didn't have a balance of powers, judicial system, you can think of the worst case scenario. Finally, from Jeremy a year ago, it's worth noting advertisers leave all the time for all sorts of reasons. That's totally appropriate. They have their own business to run. Here's what got him heated though. But to condemn our product and thus our audience after we've promoted your product is assholish behavior. Screw Harry's. He got pissed off. So what he's saying is, if you guys want to leave. You could have left and said, hey, their views don't align with ours, but we still support them and their right to have their views. We'll just go a different direction. They probably still would have been like a little, but you would at least acknowledge, hey, to this virtual signaling crowd, they can have views that disagree with yours. There are people out here that don't agree with you, and you're going to have to live with them. Or we're going to have to figure something else out. So here's the ad. The ad that I just saw today, I think it just came out today. I thought it was really cool. Guess what made a cameo? Elon Musk is in everything. The not a flamethrower. Watch for it.
Do you remember when there were two genders and only 1.5 of them had to shave their mustaches? Oh, hi. I'm Jeremy Boring, CEO and God King of the Daily Wire. Harry's Razors used to advertise on our shows. They're a great product, and we were happy to do it. That's before some peon who works for me went and said that boys are boys and girls are girls, and that was just too much for Harry's. They condemned our views held by millions of Americans and virtually every human who's walked the planet until about 15 minutes ago, as inexcusable. And they dropped their ads from our network because of what they called values misalignment. You're damn right our values are misaligned. And it's not just Harry's either. Gillette razors used to be the best a man could get. Then they decided that men are too toxic. Unless you're the kind of man who teaches his daughter to shave her beard. If that makes sense to you, keep buying Gillette. But if you've had enough of the woke bullshit, and you're tired of paying companies like Harry's and Gillette to hate you,
It is.
then buy my new razor instead. Behold, Jeremy's razors. Yes, they're real. Yes, they're fabulous. But Jeremy, you say, you're a svelte silver fox with a salt and pepper beard that's the envy of lesser men. You're damn right I am. And I want to be clear that shaving with the Jeremy's razor won't actually make you look more like me.
Yes, you're giving me fierce. You're giving me power.
Could make you look more like this guy, though. And that's the most homoerotic moment you'll ever get from a Jeremy's razor commercial. What kind of man shaves with a Jeremy's razor? I don't know. How about cowboys, firefighters, those guys that shot Osama bin Laden? I mean, no, none of those guys have ever even heard of a Jeremy's razor, but imagine how much more manly they'd be if they had.
Only come together again.
Right now, you're probably wondering if this whole thing is a joke. Sure it is. That doesn't mean it isn't real, or that it won't be the best shave of your life. Harry's Razors doesn't want your business. I do. They seem to hate you. Well, I can't say that I love you, but I don't mean you any specific harm. Our country's in trouble. Conservatives are being canceled by Hollywood, the media, universities, and now Harry's Razors. Stop giving your money to woke corporations who don't think you deserve their product. Give it to me instead.
Head over to IHateHarrys.com and pre-order your Founders Series razor and shaving cream set today.
Let's go. Let's go. This is a step up. And I like what they said, shut up and shave. So I don't align with Daily Wire on a lot of things. I would align with them closer than I would with Harry's probably, but their message isn't aligned with us or you're nothing. Ben Shapiro followed up. He said, we won't ask whether you vote Democrat or Republican. We won't lecture you on toxic masculinity or the merits of shaving your little girl. We will sell you a razor, and you will shave with that razor. Shut up and shave. And I like that. It's like we're not, it's selling a razor. We're not talking about politics with this. And if you don't align with us and you don't want to give us money, that's fine. Go to somewhere else. That's not a complicated position. And that's why I fully support this move. We talk about cancel culture. This is not cancel culture. And I think it is important to distinguish. This is an important, sometimes you might say, oh, is this semantics? Maybe you could argue that. I think my debate is the semantics worth discussing? It is. This is not cancel culture. Gina Carano is a perfect example of cancel culture. Gina Carano said something that people didn't like. So what do you do? What do normal people do? If you don't like my YouTube channel, you just don't watch it. You don't tell YouTube, cancel his channel. That's cancel culture. If it's not good enough for you to cancel your subscription or even keep your subscription and not watch the channel, then and you go other routes, now you're going down the cancel culture route. If you don't like Gina Carano, don't watch the damn show. But instead, some of them probably kept their subscription, but maybe some canceled and then said, that's not good enough because if I cancel, maybe there's not enough people canceling. They still aren't going to do what I want them to do. That's the authoritarianism in them. And they say, go fire her. Go fire Tucker. On The View, they said, go arrest Tucker. That's not cancel culture. That's a threat. An unconstitutional threat. Now, they don't have any power. Well, they have power and influence in the media, but that's dangerous. And an active reserve officer like Tulsi Gabbard, if Whoopi Goldberg and them on The View are like, that's cancel culture on steroids. What they're doing here with the I Hate Harrys, they are doing competition in the marketplace. You got beef with our values. We have some power too. We'll make a product that's better than your product. We'll see. That's what the in theory, what you would want to do. We'll make a product, or even if the product isn't better, our marketing is better. We'll make more money, and then we will choke you out of the marketplace. Don't mess with us. That's the message. We are at the stage of this culture war where things are really serious. So let me play a clip. Louis Rossmann his channel is amazing if you don't watch him. He is like the living embodiment of based. And he was on with Tim Pool, and he was talking about, so Tim Pool, I'll do a different segment on this. Tim Pool made a tweet that had nothing to do with politics. Zero to do with politics. He tweeted it. It went viral in a weird fashion, divided along political lines. And they were talking about like everybody's crazy right now. I'm talking about this culture war. And Louis Rossmann said something that makes me think it's really important to mention. But I'm gonna add to what he said.
The area where I would disagree with you is where you said that there's no middle ground in the culture war. It's either here or here. The middle ground is not on there, and the tablet, it's out there. Like every time.
So you're on the channel stuck in the middle. He's talking about the middle ground. Where's the middle ground? It's not on the internet because middle ground, milquetoast, does not play well for algorithms. You're just in the middle. It's like, okay, you didn't say anything controversial. That's why I say someone like Nick Fuentes, he says, Putin, Putin, Putin. It's marketing. That's why he does that. He's not going to trend without saying, I love Putin. I love Putin. If he just had a milquetoast take like I do, like I don't care about Putin. I don't care about Ukraine. What's about America? You're not trending off of that. So that's why. So Louis Rossmann's like, get off of social media if you want to find the middle ground.
The one area where I would disagree with you is where you said that there's no middle ground in the culture war. It's either here or here. The middle ground is not on there, and the tablet, it's out there. Like every time I go outside and I talk to somebody in a line at a grocery store, there was a date I was on 2 weeks ago with somebody who I thought would absolutely horribly like hate me over their position. They said, you know, like she actually asked me, she's a black, she's more left than I am. She said, what do you think of BLM? And I said, okay, this is going to be fun. I'm a white store owner from New York City. that was like there with that activating a 400-watt air horn on my phone every time I heard somebody banging on the door. June 2020. And it was actually a very, very reasonable conversation. Wow. I heard where she was coming from. She heard where I was coming from. That doesn't happen on Twitter. That doesn't happen on Reddit.
Oh, for sure.
But like this happens at the line at the grocery store. This happens at the gym. This happens at, a martial arts class. It happens almost everywhere. It just doesn't happen on the internet. Because there's something about how people act when they're behind a screen that changes their entire perspective. And I think the fact that all the political conversations that we're having now versus 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years ago are not in person, where there's always that thought of, I could get punched in the face.
I was going to say, exactly. Wasn't it Mike Tyson who said that?
Yeah.
That modifies people. And for the last 2 months, I've spent way more time avoiding my YouTube comment section, avoiding social media, and actually engaging with people in reality, or sitting next to them at a steakhouse or a bar and talking. And it's a radically different world. There is a middle ground. Like most people are in that middle ground. It's just they're out there. They're not on the internet.
Wow. Well, so the problem is before you even get a chance to have that middle ground, have that conversation, the internet is sort of gaining more and more ground.
The other thing,
yes, and Tim spoke. I didn't cut it up, but Tim also went deeper than that to say about the middle ground. Those people aren't active. So that brings us to B. Deering 1-1 that said, get out and vote, work the polls, back the people that are hardworking Americans that represent us. My point here, tying it back into the Harry's stuff and all that, what Louis Rossman is talking about for people who are in the middle ground that would agree with a lot of us on this channel on the general, principles, they are not active. So yes, there are more of us than them, B. Deering, and stay at the end. That's why they need ESG. They know there's more of us than them. And without ESG, which is like a business corporate credit score, you can't control people. And then obviously you'll eventually see a social credit score for people. That's why they need that. So what my point is the people who are in the middle, who aren't active and aren't doing the things like B. Deering, it doesn't have to be online. But we don't have the luxury of being inactive anymore. The people who are active are steamrolling us. They are bulldozing us. So if there really are more of us than them, you better start getting active. We don't have the ability now to just sit back, because you will be pushed so far left. You're going to get into a position where a lot of things you thought were normal will now become controversial. And we are at the point right now where we're yelling at each other. I'm talking about our country. There's no decorum. It's all gone. It's all thrown out the window. We're at that point of the argument where it's like, F you. No, F you. And that's what Daily Wire is saying. You want to go do that? F you. We're going to go do this. It's straight up. It's gone. That can't come back. Not easily. There's no undoing that. You might have heard the toothpaste out of when you squeeze the toothpaste out of the tube, how do you get it back in? You can. It would take a long time. It'd be very messy. That's where we're at. So my takeaway is, for me too, like I'm cringing now when I order something from Amazon. It's so convenient. But do you know who I'm supporting with that? Like it's hurting me now to do it. I'm supporting a guy who admitted that his number one investment, the thing he's most proud about, is the Washington Post. Why? Because he can control the media and news. And when I do that indirectly, it's not going directly to the Washington Post company, but indirectly, I'm supporting him and his media that's destructive and a joke. So I'm making those decisions right now.